Yeah.
You okay with that?
Hmm.
You done it before?
Yeah, I do it every day.
You interview somebody every day?
Mm-hmm. Hey, you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Thursday. It's Thursday or Wednesday? It's Wednesday. Wednesday, we're another creatives check-in. Up, sorry. We're another creatives check-in, and I am going to be checking in with one of my good friends, Jane, who is the owner of the Virgin Hair Fantasy, and she just popped in the room. So let me just bring her right on up. No, she okay. She okay. She's okay. Hey, Jane.
Hello.
How are you?
How's it going?
I'm good. I'm loving this hair. I didn't know what you was gonna give me today. So I
Me
was.
neither.
Wait. Say your last name for me.
Oriaki Harris.
Ariaki Harris. I know the
Yeah,
Harris part. It was the Ariaki part that was got to have me a little stumped. That's why I
yeah.
just put on there Jane the wig maker. How are you, my love?
Um,
It's always happy to see and talk to you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here. How have you been?
I have been doing good, just trying to make the best of a situation.
Listen,
So, speaking of the situation, let's start with the first one. How
yes.
has COVID-19 treated you and your business? And what was your processes through that?
I mean, at first, it was one of those things where we're all just watching the news because you didn't know where it was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it has affected us how we do business because we used to have a private salon in Buckhead. So we don't
Mm-hmm.
do that anymore. So we're unable to see our clients one on one. And for 12 years, our clients really wanted this one-on-one service, and we finally launched it. We, started doing so well after 2 years, and then COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to stop doing that. So, I mean, I think for me, so far, it's just opened me up to other options that I didn't even think about before. You know, when you're forced to deal with something, but it's
Mm-hmm.
other doors that I didn't even see possible in beauty. So I can say now that I'm getting used to it.
Mm-hmm. And then in the midst of all of that, Black Lives Matters happened, and you
Yes.
have some gorgeous, beautiful brown children.
Oh,
So like, how has that been for you, and what kind of conversations have you had to have with your kids about it, or have you had conversations with them about it?
I had to. It's all over the news. And as little humans, they're looking at you reacting. They have their own expressions and reactions too. I have a 9-year old, a 6-year old, and a 4-year old. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just seeing all ages of how it's affecting them. My 9-year old is very aware. She knows what's going on. She feels a little bit of the pain, and then she feels the joy when we have verdicts at work and when law
Mm-hmm.
passed. When I explain them to her, she's happy about it. So she's very aware of what's going on. I've had to have many conversations with especially my son about what's going on. He doesn't fully understand, of course, but just letting him know that whatever he's seen me react to, because a lot of times we forget that they're in the room. So I'm reacting to the news. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm letting him know that what's going on is not okay, but soon I'll be able to explain in detail. So I'm just giving them in small doses because it's a lot for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grown, so I can only
Mm-hmm.
imagine. So what we do is, as soon as the news come on and we have to know what's going on the news, turn it to a movie. Madam C.J. Walker, how she made him. I try to show
Mm-hmm.
also a positive brown situation, a brown
Mm-hmm.
doing good. We show pictures of accomplished inventors that are brown, just enough positive images to kind of balance it out.
Mm-hmm. Because it's a lot. It's just a lot.
It really is. It really is.
So, so let's get into the business of it. You come to see. So, y'all, my grandmother is here visit. She's like, "Who is he talking to?" So
Hey,
this is what.
Grandma. What's up? I love your hair. See,
She
that's the
said she
color
loved
I
your
need
hair,
right
girl.
there. That's my
She said,
look.
"Thank you." She got it done today. I just did her hair today for
It looks beautiful.
her. So let's talk about. Well, let me take this off since you. Jay,
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Let me turn the volume up right here. So we said here. So let's talk about the virgin hair fantasy. So
Yes.
first of all, Jen, I met you umpteen years ago.
Yes. Yes.
And you were a client of the salon, and then we just became friends. And then I was able, as I was doing things in the industry, I was able to call on you and get some
Oh.
things, and you were able to make things happen. And you are my go-to wig girl. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So what made you come up with the virgin hair fantasy?
Well, I was in New York. I was working in New York corporate. You know, I was a shoe sales girl there, selling shoes on Madison Avenue, loving it. But you know what? I was a store manager. It was like there's a store on Madison Avenue. It was a flagship store. So they had all these goals for the store, but they had never really accomplished it. So we were doing a new concept. And here they go, put me in there to say, okay, well, you're going to be the store manager. It was my first management job. I was 22 years old. So they said we had a $4 million goal. I was like, how are we going to do that? We don't even know if anybody going to come. But we did 3 million our first year, you know, but it was a fantastic year. I love the owners and, you know, the company I worked for. But with all of that work and stress, I started losing my hair. But I'm not going to lie. I already had thin edges. When the wind blew, it would fall off. So any kind of stress, it was going, I was like, you know what? I got to do something. And started experimenting with weaves. But it got to a point where my weaves, I didn't even have enough leave out to cover the weave. So I was like, okay, this is not working either. So I made my first wig, which was really terrible. But what it did for me was I didn't really have a choice. It was better than what I had before. So I was like, I just started making wigs. I went on YouTube. I just started, you know, experimenting. And then I realized I'm obsessed with hair. Like, I'm like, my moods will change depending on what kind of hair I put on. So I was like, this is more spiritual than I thought. This is a situation. Whatever this is, let me get some. I just started playing and having fun with wigs, and I just haven't stopped. So I did it part-time for 6 months because I loved my full-time job. I had done it for 13 years. So I was like, I'm not going to leave something that I'm not sure about. And the truth was, I wasn't sure about hair because it was something that I just did for fun. But 6 months later, I had to go. So I went full-time into making wigs, and I haven't looked back since. It's been 12 and a half years.
Congratulations.
Thank
So
you.
you're going on 13 years in the hair business. So you were creating lace frontal wigs and lace wigs before the whole phase even happened.
Yes.
And you know, and the crazy thing about it, Jane, is that when you first started talking, when we first met you and you was telling me about your wigs and stuff, I was like, this lady is crazy. Do you know how much she charged for a wig? Like, because you wasn't, like, you never was cheap. Like, you were always top echelon, you know, $1,000, $2,000. Your wigs have always been in that range. And I was like, this lady's not going to never make it. She's crazy. And then here you 12 years later.
And, you know, and honestly, there were times when I was like, you ain't going to make it.
But with that being said, what kept you going, knowing that you were at the top of the price? Like, you know, you were at the top of the price list. What you could have easily just said, okay, fine, we're gonna make them $300 wigs and we're gonna do this, but you really stayed true to it.
I had to, because I had a corporate job, so I already knew my value per hour off the top. That's how I got spoiled. Like, I was a shoe sales girl, so when every hour I knew what I had to do to make the money I needed to make. So going into something, you know, leaving my job that I had that job solid for 13 years, so I already knew even on my worst year, I knew what I was gonna make. So if I'm gonna leave this, you know, situation and go into another situation, I'm gonna bring that same experience and excellence and customer service, great product, everything that I'd learned in 13 years, bring it to the business. So for me, it was very important to break the hair business down as I would do my normal sales goal as a shoe store, because sales is sales. You know, and as a store manager at the shoe store, I was also an aggressive, but I was a passive aggressive salesperson. So I knew how to sell. So I'm like, if I just get the product and, you know, have good quality product and back it up with tutorials where people know that I'm here to help, I should be okay. That was a crazy idea, but that's how we started. because when we got in the industry, there was only one person I think that I knew of. Her name is Hadia Babel in New York.
Yeah.
Amazing. She's so, I love her.
She was high too.
What? Yes. Yes. But there was something about her that taught me something. She was very unapologetic about her prices. It was one of those things where this is my price. You can buy it or not. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not that serious. I'm not gonna, I am an artist. She owned her art. And that's the kind of confidence that I didn't have in the beginning. But one thing I had was experience in my dollar per hour. I knew how much I made every hour. So I did that to what I needed to do in the hair business to make the same, because I knew what I was bringing to the table. So I was like, I already had the confidence of, okay, I've already made this kind of money. So that's what it was.
And that's the part that we miss in the beauty industry. Like a lot of us just come out of the hair school and go right into it. We miss the business part of it. And I try to tell people that you have to know how much money you want to make per hour to understand how you want to charge people.
Yes, for sure. I mean, you have to break it down. I mean, there are jobs that I'll do for free, and that's just the truth. But when you know your value and you see that your value is not, I mean, when I say dollar per hour, it can't only mean money. It also has to do with value per hour. Like if I'm spending an hour with somebody having a conversation with grandma don't drop jewels. So I'll be there for an hour listening to grandma because I'm gaining all this knowledge. But if I'm having a gossip session with somebody for an hour, that's a waste of my time. Right. So it don't have to be always money, but I think the truth is if you don't know pricing in any business, you could be in a lot of trouble. So when you're doing pricing, somebody said any tips for small business, pricing is a big deal. Because as an artist, you sit there, you spend 13 hours, maybe 3 days making this wig, right? And you're not calculating your dollar per hour. You should have a dollar per hour as a person that's working, besides the cost of your material, besides the cost of your shipping, besides the cost of your time to even go drop it off at FedEx. The reason why you need to calculate all of this is because eventually you don't want to get tired of that job. Because if you're not getting paid enough as a creative, you're not going to want to create. No, you're not. So pricing is definitely important, and breaking it down as a business, like you would do any Fortune 500 business, is the only way to go.
And that's the one thing I love about you, Jay. You don't mind sharing the information.
No,
like, you don't mind sharing the information. Like a lot of people want the information that you give. Like just now, you give the information. A lot of people want to charge thousands and thousands of dollars for. But for you like to see other businesses succeed.
And the truth about it is, it makes the selfish thing. I always like to say it's because what is your motive? I mean, the truth is everybody can use money. I want to make more money. But when I share information, it opens up a door in my heart that wants me to learn more. So for some reason, I can't get more if I don't give what I already know. There's no motivation to acquire more knowledge. Like right now, I love reading books, but the only time I finish a book quicker is when I am reading it with my team on the Virgin Fantasy page. Like if I get all involved, and guess what, guys, in my Insta story, I just bought a new book, let's see what it's all about. If I don't do that, I may never read that book. But for some reason, when I share it and we're talking about it, now I have other people holding me accountable. It's like, Jane, did you finish that book? What did you think about it? So I think we forget the fact that we're just giving, but you're really yourself. It makes me happy. Like I really enjoy it because I get a lot from people. When I sat with you for the first time, you dropped so many. I was just like, so, I'm around a lot of givers like yourself too. So there's no excuse.
So now 13 years in the game. So this is, I guess like when I text you, I said my conversation is all over the place. I like to hear all type of issues. So in the business, so I want to talk to you about being a brown-skinned Black woman, and in business, and trying to grow a business, trying to do business. Have you seen issues because of you being a brown-skinned girl? And what are some that you have faced, and how have you got over it?
I have to be honest with you, as I'm from Nigeria, West Africa. So coming from Africa here at the age of 18, I had no clue what was, you coming from Africa, everybody, we all same, we're all trying to, make it. But getting here, I definitely have, over the years, I've learned that there is a difference. There is opportunities that are available. But I think one of the advantages of being a brown skinned girl in this industry, or in any industry, in my opinion, is you almost are not looking for anybody for help. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
ain't nobody been helping you all these. You've been doing it on your own. You don't even know. I didn't even know there were things in place available to help you. I didn't even know anything about business credit. What is that?
Mm-hmm.
So y'all give credit. So if I have an idea and you believe in my idea and I can show you a business plan, I can get a loan, and you can let me not pay on it for a year. What is forgiveness loan? Those are the conversations that I never was fortunate to be in those kind of conversations. And a lot of people that I started with, we weren't. So it makes you just push really hard in a different way. But then as you get older, as you get in the business, you realize that, wait a minute, this is not even easy. I never had the opportunities that were available for so-called a woman, woman business, let alone a brown business owner. So yeah, the truth is, I never really thought there were opportunities available, or that there were, anything that could be done. I just thought I had to do it on my own. And the truth is, you don't. You don't. That's why I think what's happening now is really important, because we all need to draw into ourselves, and everybody can do something. There's a lot of stuff on the news about what's going on, and what's happening in our communities. But everybody, if you have 2 followers, you can help. You just have to pull the next brown person next to you up, lift them up. You have to pull the closest brown person to you to lift up right now, lift them up, because as you can see, we've not been lifted up. So if you can lift the next right next to you, your mom, dad, uncle, any person next to you, as closest to you to lift up, do that. That's doing something that help the entire community.
And I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you, Jane. Because I moved close to my grandma because she's watching with me, and she's asking me questions while you talking. So that's how.
Awesome.
I don't want you to think I'm not paying attention, but I'm paying attention.
No, you're fine.
So now let's talk about this. So doing a business and stepping out on your own. You're 6 months. So you were 6 months in. You're like, you know what? I gotta quit my job. This is what it is. What were those feelings? Were you scared? Were you nervous?
I was so comfortable behind the salary. Because I already knew, like every week I knew what I was making. It was commission, but I kind of had it all down. I knew exactly what I was making, and being able to take a leap of faith on myself was the hardest thing. I was like, what if I fail? What if all of this is just something that just, nobody buys anything in 2 weeks? But those are doubts. And then I think what got me to taking that leap of faith was, I'm like, girl, they can fire you tomorrow. What? What did they can fire you tomorrow, so what's the point? You might as well take it yourself. So those conversations in my head helped me to make that next move.
Now, as a business owner, let's talk a little bit money. Now,
yes.
Were you a saver? Did you understand money? Because a lot of us get into this business now, and now it's a cash transactional business, and now we
You know what? I thought the hardest thing I ever had to learn was to make my own wig from scratch from a YouTube tutorial. No. I thought the hardest thing was to quit my job that I was so comfortable doing for 13 years. I had worked my way from the very bottom to the top. 13 years. I was a shoe salesperson. My clients were sending me gifts. Like I had a whole system that was comfortable. No, that wasn't hard. What was hard was keeping any of that money that I made. Keeping it. And you know what? I am not ashamed to say it anymore. No, I was not a saver. I had no clue about money, honestly. No clue. Talent is nothing if you don't know how to keep your money. The most talented people will be on the street hungry because they don't know the money. Oh, I'm not good with money. If you're not good with money, then you're not good with living, because you need to be good. Like being good with money is like being good about taking a shower. You have to. It ain't no, I'm not good with money. You need to have an idea of money. And it took almost losing everything to realize that and wake up. I'm like, I was so driven. I was like, I will not go back to my regular job that I left. I'm like, I can't do it. I said, so we got to figure this out. And then the more I did my research, the more I sat there and really thought, I'm like, you are your biggest enemy.
Mm-hmm.
When? How are
Mm-hmm.
you saving? What are you spending for all these designer things that you wearing? Can you put that money back in your? I was very clueless, but I had to learn very fast that that wasn't going to be the route I wanted to take. So because I didn't want to fail.
Which one to ask the girl?
I asked her about Tyler.
Well, she don't know him, Grandma.
But she know him like we do.
Yeah, she know him like we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she can answer questions then.
So, she want to ask you a question about Tyler Perry. I said, well, she don't know
Oh,
Tyler Perry, Grandma.
I want Tyler Perry.
What
She's seen my future. She's seen my future.
Right, what you want to say? What you want to ask, Grandma?
I'm looking at you and you're a beautiful woman. You got beautiful hair. And
Thank
I
you.
can appreciate you being the person that you are and the
Thank
strong
you.
character that you have. What I want to know is just seeing the movies that Tyler Perry portrays to us. What
Yes.
part does that play in your life, or does it help you in it to be stronger? Because when my grandson, started out in this business, that was not something that we looked forward for him to do. We wanted him to do what men usually do, but he took his own inabilities and decided this is where I am and this is what I want, and he stuck to it, and he has achieved in this business.
Amazing.
I'm proud for him. And I want to know from you as a Black woman, how do you feel about the position that you've taken, knowing that there were all kinds of hair and all kinds of differences in that field, but you still wanted to press forward and push forward to make it where you are now?
Oh, that's a good question, Grandma.
That's a great question. That is man. Okay. I feel like a decision to win is almost internal, and I've known Derek now for maybe almost 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like just based on knowing him, he doesn't start something he cannot finish, and it's all about completion. It's all about being an artist and having that drive within you. Like I always wanted to be successful in anything I did, even if it just meant giving someone a cup of water. I didn't just want to give them a cup of water. I wanted them to feel the love that I had giving them that cup of water. That's just the kind of person and what it does, and it's selfish, but I have to be honest, it makes me feel good. So I'm not one of those people that I love being nice, but I have to be honest about how being nice does to me. It really fills me up. That's what makes me want to do it again. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if I were to sit down and explain how Derek has impacted me, I remember when I saw him on television and a lot of things he's done. I haven't really seen a lot of people in the hair business who have accomplished across the board, not just in one area. You talk about movies, a television show, red carpets, hair shows, in the salon industry. So he's definitely hit every single avenue. And that to me is success. That is breaking barriers. And I'm truly, honestly honored to even be his friend, because that's just he's living example of you can do anything you want to do and not put yourself in a box. So I just love it.
But Jay, for you, because the thing is, I know people, when you decided to do this, people thought you were crazy, didn't they?
They did, because I didn't go to hair school.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And that's another thing I do. And the thing I do appreciate too, you don't claim to be a hairstylist.
No.
You don't claim to be a colorist. You don't claim to be any of these things. Like, I'm a wig maker, and I learned how to do the things that you do with making wigs. And you push through in that space, and you were able to build it to become a successful, like, Jay, it just, I mean, you're not going to gush over you all day. But this is, But to watch you, you ship stuff out the country, overseas, different countries. Like you don't have one type of client.
Thank God.
You have white girls, you have black
Every-
girls, you have Indian. You have a whole slew of clients that you built
yeah.
hand by hand. So speaking of clients, like how did you go about building that type of clientele?
I have to be honest with you. It started 9 years ago when I found out about influencer marketing. So that's when the YouTubers just started getting big and they were, doing a lot of reviews. So I still had my full-time job. So I was like, okay, maybe I can, send them my products to check out. And then if they check it out and they like it, they can promote. And that was one of those things where you just send them a DM. Back then, it was not even structured. You just text, send them a DM. They're like, oh, okay. And then you send 10 people, 2 people may respond back. So it was one of those things, we did that for a couple of years. But what I didn't do was stop. I just kept going, kept hitting. Okay, I just kept sliding in people's DMs. Literally, there's no skipping that first groundwork. I literally just sent people DMs. And then I literally woke up one day and we had alerts for like 12 YouTube reviews at the same time. And then we weren't paying anybody. I mean, this people were just excited to get virgin hair. So I wasn't paying anyone. We didn't even have the money to pay anyone. People were just genuinely, either they don't post, they don't post. They like, nobody was exchanging money at the time. No.
He was like, I give you free stuff. You talk to me and talk about it.
You post.
Right.
Yeah. I just kept going. You know what? I did not want to go back to my old job. I did not want to go back. So I was like, this is going to have to work. So I just kept on shipping stuff to people and making it happen. But what my full-time job did for me, those 6 months that I still have the other job, I had money. All the money that I was making, I would split it up in half, use half. I was very aggressive about my marketing, very aggressive. So I put money into it because I was like, I have a job now. So let me use this opportunity to use the extra, split my money and then use half for and half for marketing. That was it.
And you just stuck to it.
I stuck to it, even when he almost kicked me in. You know what? So we,
Jane
did that for like 3 years, and it was great. It was amazing. It was great. We had a good time. And then 2 years in the game, Derek, had a huge problem. The market got oversaturated. So things that we were, being that we were one of the few people in that group, it became a lot of people in that. It was a lot more. So what that did for me was it was a game changer because here I was in this secure, I thought, market. And then now I'm like, ooh, ain't nobody ordering. Like, no sales? What's going on? Okay, let's have a sale. Nobody's still buying? So we went through those moments, but that's when the market shifted where a lot of the Chinese companies and Indian companies became grassroots. They came to the US to set up shop. So the competition got like locals, India, Malaysia, like everyone was in the market to get some of the $10 billion industry, and still growing. So everybody was in. So that was a time when if you couldn't shape your company to have a niche, you were out the market. You were out the market. So we shifted our business. We decided to create less expensive styles that were more affordable, just to give people a chance to say, let me just try it. I'm not going to try it for $2,000, but I'll try it for $600. And they did. So we were able to keep going.
Well, we got another. Go ahead, Grandma.
When I was a young girl, no more than about 15 or 16 years old, there was a black girl and another black girl. They both got into an argument and began to fight each other. I had no idea that this young lady had a wig on. And when she snatched the wig off of her head, it was just surprising to see the difference that wig made, and to see what you young people are doing today. To watch my grandson weave hair is amazing to me. And I said,
magical.
Can't you do that for grandmother? But he says, no, grandmother, you don't need it, But I think I need it, But I'm just saying the changes that I have watched down through the years is amazing.
It
And
is.
Tyler Perry said, if you believe in what you're doing and you stick to it, you know, it'll become successful to you. And this is, he wanted to show the Black young men that they have the capabilities to do the job the way it should be done. But you got to have some confidence in yourself to do it.
100%.
And I see all that in you. And as you talk, you bring that out. And I hope that some of the young people that are watching will see what you have in you and that you're willing to give that knowledge to them and
Oh, thank you.
go forward. It would be a
Thank you
big,
so much. Thank
Yeah,
you
she
for
was,
blessing the
while you
words.
over there
Thank
talking, Jay, when she over there talking, she like this, yes, yes, and that's right too. She over, she into the conversation. Now,
thank you so much. Thank you.
now when you now you said that you went in and you gave a lower price point. Now, did you find that
Yeah.
people that you once you introduced them to your product, they was hooked, and then they went to the next time, they went to the next one, they went to, so was that your plan when you introduced them to the lower product?
I have to be, and I'm so glad you brought that back up because when we first did it, it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not always the motivation. You know, we've done where my partner and I, my husband, when we were like, oh, you know what, maybe this was the first time it happened. We're like, okay, we're not selling. What's up? Do something. So we decided to, you know, reduce the price because we decided to start selling hair directly from our suppliers. So we cut out the middleman. That's the only way we can reduce the price. So we went to India. We sat there. We're like, hey, we need to negotiate our hair, you know, so we can provide, you know, because right now we're not competitive. I mean, we're selling hair and it's not competitive. So we took a few trips to India, secured a great deal that wasn't as hard as I thought it was. Really easy. Once we got there, everything else was like right there in front of us. It wasn't hard. So after doing that, everything changed. We were able to secure, create our own styles with great quality hair for not as high of a price that we first started with. So that definitely worked out later on. But at first, people were like, why is it on sale? Price is a funny thing. Price is not always motivation for people to buy. It's not always. Some people can say, see, it's the right price, right product, and then the right shipping. There are a few things that have to click. So sometimes I put things for lower than I thought, and nobody bought it. They're like, I don't know about that. So it really depends on when that price, right item, it has to make sense. If you're selling 22-inch wig for, let's say, $300, few people will ask, what's wrong with it?
With the wig. Isn't that crazy though? Even though you know nothing is wrong with the wig, you're like, but
You're
like for
like,
us as Black people, we mentally don't. We think this stuff is cheap. You're like, something is wrong with that, and you like, there's nothing wrong with it.
So it has to make sense because, you know, right now we have a lot of educated hair. You have people been buying hair for 40 years, okay, 30. Like they're educated wig wearers, educated. The mistake is to think your client is not educated. That's a big mistake. Assume that they're an expert in the hair field. When you assume that they're experts, then you will not cut corners. Like, they're an expert. They can catch me on my game. So it keeps me up. So every time I see someone buy something, I'm like, let's just say they're an expert. Let me pretend like I'm selling to Derek J every single time. He's going to catch me if I'm not honest. So that keeps me on my, yeah.
And speaking of that, because I know that you get a lot of clients because they've been to one-off people that got burnt and that. So, well, you said it, but I just want you to kind of reiterate it. But because why is it so important for you to keep your integrity in the industry? Because I never get a bad. Anytime I send somebody to you, they always talk about how amazing the experience was, how professional you were, how easy it was, and how accommodating you are, because you're very accommodating. She froze a little bit. Hold on, she froze, but she'll be right back, y'all. Okay, there you go.
Sorry, here I am.
Yeah, so they talk about how great you was, how professional you was, the product, and most importantly, how accommodating you are as a business person. So, like, why is all that so important to you?
I'm not going to take credit for that. For 13 years, Derek, my entire way of eating how I ate dependent on all of those characteristics. I was a store manager. I was 21 years old. I was a store manager of a $3 million store in a company with 26 stores, 26 managers. I was the only brown girl. And after doing that job for 13 years, I was like, y'all didn't give me the job because you're sorry for me. I was the best person for the job. The truth is, I love taking care of people. It's hard to teach someone to care people. It's almost like some people just care for people, some people don't. It's just, I just found a way. It just so happened that my job for caring for people has been paying my bills now for almost, 18 years. When I started selling shoes, when I started selling shoes in the beginning, I used to sell bras at Victoria's Secret. And then somebody was like, oh, they're making more money over there at the shoe store. I was like, I'm going to go apply. So I went to go apply. When I started working at the shoe store, they made fun of me in the first week because they're like, oh, this is commission, right? So if you don't sell, you ain't going to eat. I was like, oh, okay, I'll figure it out. They're like, you never did commission before? I'm like, no, I never did commission. The first year at Marmy, the company I was working for, I did $60,000 my first year. I made $60,000. Before that, the job I had before at the Victoria's Secret, I was making $9.50 an hour. So I was I worked 5 hours and I couldn't even do 20 grand a year. So to make $60,000 my first year, I was like, bring it on. I was like, wait, all I got to do, Derek, I didn't know anything about shoes. They were talking about instep, leather, the feel, the touch. It was an Italian shoe store. I was like, oh my gosh, my customer just coughed. I'm going to go get him a cup of water because I knew I lacked skill. I did not know what I was doing. So I was like, I'm just going to be nice. They would get up and I'll put the coat on them. They will cough and I'll get them water. My coworker's like, oh yeah, you're doing too much. Not when the year ended. I was number 3 in the store my first year. I was like, yeah, being nice.
So you understood because you lacked in the knowledge of shoe, you just excel in the customer service level.
That's it. I mean, the truth is, how many times have you stopped going somewhere that had the best food or the best anything and the service was terrible? You're like, bye. Don't matter. Somebody will stick with you even if they don't have the product. I have clients that are like, Jane, I know you don't have that product yet, but I know you will get it, so I'll wait for you. Straight up. Because they just like you. You're kind to them. You make them feel good. People are going to feel a certain way when they're around you, how you make them, you're attentive, you care. So I learned very early that service is a huge part of selling. It's a huge part of selling. And later, some of the clients that I started with, that's the one thing because when things got crazy, they still stuck with us. When we're like, oh my God, we don't know what's going on, this and that. So making them feel good is my favorite part of my job. It's a feeling. I can't even tell you what hair they bought, what hair they didn't buy, but I can tell you how they felt. I can tell you when they sent me that selfie, smiling from ear to ear from the bathroom. So I shouldn't post it, but I posted anyway.
Now, a couple of years ago, I noticed that you started diversifying your company. So you came out with the wig palette before we get to the wig palette, I want to say, which I tell you this all the time, I appreciate too for you that you understand feedback. Because I called Jane, you guys. I said, Jane, now girl, you and your sisters put these wigs on and it looks amazing. It's easy. But now I buy this wig, girl. This wig ain't that easy. And you was like, okay, thank you for telling me to figure it out. And y'all went in and you figured it out. You restructured the wig. You said, okay, now anybody, if you can't put this wig on, you just don't need it.
Yes.
So I appreciate that. So but out of that came the wig palette. So you was able, so people can not die, but
you're right. Yes. Rated. Without feedback, you can never grow. It was those kind of conversations from you and I'm like, if Derek J, who's a wig hair king, is telling you that a homegirl, it wasn't that easy to take out the butt. I'm like, that's a gem. That I can't even get that from school. So I took that advice and I'm like, how can I let Ms. Jones get this box and not have to have a problem? So it took me to how I wanted to create the look. So that was one of the best criticism I received. And I received it well because I know it came from an amazing place. And I know it came from God because I didn't go to hair school. So I always look to those kind of criticism to grow and be better. Some of the best ideas that we've had, Derek, came from our clients. You gotta listen. You gotta listen. You don't know it all. You never know it all. You have to listen.
So you did the wig palette. Then you came out with 2 Mango Sisters. Then you got the Virgin Hair Fantasy. You got the Virgin Hair Fantasy rap phone. Then you got the eyelashes. Then you got so so how, like, what made you say, hey, we can't, okay, wigs is great, we're doing great here, but we have to do more. So what was that process like, and what made you want to do more?
I read a couple books, Derek. I read a couple books, and this book that I read was like, so what happens if you have arthritis in your hands? Are you able to make money? I was like, what? I never thought about that. My hands will always work. That's the moment I realized that I wasn't using my full potential. I didn't have to touch everything. I didn't have to touch everything to make money. I wanted to diversify my portfolio, my products portfolio. I wanted a situation where I left something for my children and grandchildren. And it started with products. Nothing gives you real estate in this here money business than a product. I want to sell when I'm sleeping. Those things came up from one book. And I was like,
what was that? What book was you reading, girl?
It's called The 4-Hour Work Week.
Okay.
It's by Tim Ferriss. That my husband, I don't know where he saw that. He goes, oh, there's somebody said we should read this book. When I read the first chapter, I was so shocked. I was like, I've been doing business the wrong way, because nobody told me. But that book laid it down. It's called The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. After reading that book, I literally restructured our entire company with my husband, and it's just amazing. I was like, there's no way that if anybody got this same information that I got, they would have done the same thing. So it's one of those things where you're like, duh, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm so big on books, because without books, man, without books, I wouldn't even be here. Yeah, The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. It's on audio, so you can do it while you're working. I read it at least twice a year just to check myself. I'll play with that book. I read the book again 6 months ago. Every time we create a line of products. I read that book 7 months ago. We created 4 products after. It just wakes you up, because sometimes you're not entire genius, like because you're in it. You're the one in it. You're the one doing all, every day running around. But it gave me a chance to sit back and evaluate what I was really doing. I'm like, dude, I'm 42 years old. At 60, do you still want to be making a wig? I was like, I'll probably make to eat. I want to do it because I feel like it at 60. But what I want to do, all my online courses selling, I want my products to be on shelves. I want other companies to carry my product. Like, thinking ahead of what I was doing now was the biggest mistake before. But after reading that ahead, so you can take these strategic moves to be able to get business that we're talking about. I mean, nobody has I don't have an uncle sitting there like, okay, let's talk about your business plan. So I turned books, and I just fell on this one. And I'm telling everybody about this book, because if I had learned about it way sooner, I would have benefited a lot more. But my goal now would be, every time I'm able to speak to anyone, anytime I blog, every time I do a YouTube video, every few months, I bring up that book, because I want people I didn't have that information in the beginning. I want people to have that information in the beginning.
So, question for you. My mind went to the left just that fast. I had a question for you. Oh no, that's what the question was. So, because there's so many people in the market doing what you do, how do you stay focused on just you? Do you let any of that get to you? Do you see somebody over here like, well, Dave, so-and-so is doing so-and-so, or so-and-so got a wig over at so-and-so, or, so did you let any of that get to you?
Understand your question.
I think.
I'm not gonna lie, because I'm human. It does. Yes, it does. And the truth is, what I try to do, I've had a whole year of call myself looking for anybody, I'm on my own. I gotta see what they're doing before making my, because that's what you want to do. So yes, I did have times, especially in the middle of our business. I'm talking about when we're like 7 years in, when things started to go, it's called the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. It's a wealth of knowledge. So there were times when I would stop and go, oh my God, what's this person doing? Those years that I did that, they were the most terrible years. Creatively, I was watching everybody else. So God couldn't even give me the right thing to quit. Because as creatives, I feel like God gives us this gift to create. But if you're listening to everybody else and you're not listening to God, you're not going to get your. So I did have moments I let people and other things influence me, and they're supposed to, but not to the point where you can't even make your own. You can't even be creative. But let myself make mistakes. That's when I stopped caring. I was like, oh, that didn't look good yesterday. Well, I'll make one better today. So I stopped caring about making mistakes and following these rules about when I turned 40. So that's 2 years. I was like, okay, this 40 that we're about to enter, what are we going to enter 40 with? I was like, you know what? I care too much about what this person would think, what that person would, especially creatively. I was like, for one, Jane, you're 4 years old. There's no better time than now. Can you just be? I literally had to talk with myself to Japan, and I haven't looked back since. It's been 2 years, and I'm still on.
Oh, I got 2 more years to 40, so I can't wait to get to that point where I can just don't care anymore. So my last question for you is one question I love to ask because we don't talk about it enough. Is what does retirement look like for Jane and the Virgin Hair Fantasy, and what kind of steps are you going to making that happen?
It's funny that you said that because it's one of those secret things that no one likes to talk about. And for me, it wasn't anything, because it's like, oh, you don't know. I mean, for me, whenever I would talk about finance, I'll have this knot in my stomach, like, because I don't know enough about it. I don't know who's going to rip me off, and I don't know what I'm doing. You're not to know what you're doing. That's why you're supposed to hire somebody. You got to hire somebody. So when I thought about my kids' business that we've been building for 13 now, it was too important to make those wrong decisions. There were times that when we made really bad mistakes, almost cost us everything, very close to ending everything. So when you're that close to, it's almost like you finally made it out. You don't left your regular job. Now you got your own business. You've been doing it for 3 years. Everybody in your family knows, oh, she went and did that. And then 3 years in, you're like, this about to be over because I can't keep up. That happened to us. In that moment of reality, I'm like, are you going to go back or are you going to fight and make this work? Part of my struggle for fighting was to make sure I had financial literacy. And part of it was making sure that I never have to worry about money going all the way to my grandchildren. So when you have a goal that big and knowing that there's only one way to figure it out by having consultations and having conversations with accountants, CPA. And if you don't have the money to afford one, there are churches that provide this kind of advice for free. You just have to seek it. You have to seek it. So that became very important to me because I just didn't want to go back to what I was doing. So yeah, we're talking retirement, Roth IRAs, SEP accounts. I don't know all of the terms, but I have someone in charge that walks me through it. So whenever I want to buy something expensive, I turn around and think about it. And I have conversations with the powers that be. I'm like, if I don't have $300 to pay a retainer for an accountant every month as a business who's been around for 4 years, then I'm doing something wrong. I always tell small businesses, if you've made your first $10,000, you need to hire 2 people. You need to get an attorney who is going to be on your payroll. An attorney can cost you between $100 and $500 every month on your payroll. They're on your payroll doing what? Just in case. You may never need them, but the minute you need somebody, you get a situation in a business, you need an attorney that's familiar with you. He knows your business. He's been working with you for 8 months. You're not having a conversation with a stranger. He has all your paperwork ready to go so he can respond and take care of anything legal that needs to be taken care of. So you have an attorney. The next person you need before you even pay yourself, okay? You need to have an accountant. An accountant will cost you between $150 to $600 a month, depending on the size of your business. An accountant make sure that you're getting all the tax breaks all around that you need. Is the highest bill that you can pay as a small business. So why not put somebody who knows what they're doing? I'm not a tax attorney. Why am I doing my own taxes? So what happens is, as a small business, I didn't want to pay the $300 a month. I'm like, that's too much. But you're gonna find that you're gonna pay $4,000 then if you want to pay that $400. You're gonna pay $5,000. You're gonna pay $30,000. So it was very important in the beginning that I had all these things in place, because I'm like, okay, it don't make sense for me to be paying a lawyer, and I don't even need a lawyer. But that's what you have to do.
Jane, you came over here to drop all this knowledge on us today, giving us all this business tips and things that we should be doing as a business. And I appreciate you so much for sharing all that information with us, because you didn't have to, but you did. And thank you for chit-chatting with my grandmother also. And thank you for chit-chatting with my grandmother.
I heard that. I love her hair. Bye, Grandma.
I just appreciate being able to talk to you and to see you and to see what you have to give. You have a lot to give. And I couldn't understand my grandson, but now I'm understanding a little bit more, you know, because God has put you all here to help someone. And that's what I try to tell him. Try to reach out and touch somebody along the way. That's important.
Jane, my sister, I love you. Thank you so much.
100%.
And I'm gonna and y'all make sure y'all watch it if y'all want to get all these good old notes back again.
Yes.
Bye-bye, baby. Thank you.
Love you. Thank you.
So yes, Jane was dropping all that good old knowledge on you guys. She was giving you all that good stuff for being a business and making it work. So y'all make sure y'all go back and listen to it if you missed it, so you can get all that good information. And tomorrow I will have Marcia Hamilton, who is an amazing hairstylist. She'll be here with me tomorrow at 5:00. And I will see you guys tomorrow.
Well, you got